All right, welcome to the Taxscribe for Georgia Town Hall. I really appreciate everyone who joined. We're doing a recording for the people who couldn't make it. All right, so what I wanted to do was first, I want to share my screen here. If I can do that. I share my screen. All right. Hopefully you guys can now see my screen. All right, welcome to the webinar. If we have not spoken before and you want me to reach out, please give me a phone call. There's my phone number, or send me an email. There's my email at the bottom of this slide. I will post that multiple times. And if you don't want to talk to me, there's Dottie, of course, who's on. Wave to the crowd, Dottie. And a lot of you know Dottie from her interactions with you. All right, so let me do introductions and welcome. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hear more about Taxscribe. What we've done is we've built a data platform and we've integrated with WinGAP, and it's built to save you time and have to not open mail and not type things into WinGAP anymore when take these business personal property forms, the PDP 50P, the A, the M, and the PF, and make them electronic. And so that was the whole goal of all of this. And just to try to answer any questions that you might have and whatnot. So let's do the introductions. So there's Jennifer Jones. She's the personal property manager for Whitfield County. Please wave to the crowd, Jennifer, please. All right. And also on the phone is Jay Reeves. He's the personal property appraiser for Barrow County. So Jay, please, and say something, Jay. You got the great radio voice.
Yeah.
All right, well, there it is. And then also we have Chester Bailey, who's the Reason Consulting Director of Customer Experience, is also on this call, as well as Adam Hunter, who's our Chief Technology Officer for Reason. Now, the reason why Chester's on this call is that there are a lot of questions always asked about integration and training and things like that. And he is my phone a friend for anything technical. I will hey, Chester, and there's a whole team of people behind Chester. And then Adam, of course, is our CTO. And he's the one that led the integration with WinGAP. And so if you have any questions about, well, what does integration with WinGAP mean, or any of those kinds of things, Adam hopefully will be able to answer any question like that. And so I'm going to do a short demonstration, very, very short, of the product, Taxscribe. I tried to shorten the demonstration down. It has so many features and functionality and buttons and the interfaces that it is its own hour demonstration. And so there's really no way to do the product justice and also have like a town hall where you ask the questions. So I'm going to do a very brief demo of the product, just to remind people who have seen it, like all the things that it does, but also to more paint. If you've never seen it, you'll hopefully understand the interface has a lot of features and functionality, but it is very intuitive. And so I want you to get just a taste of it so you understand what we're doing. But if you want a full demo for anybody in your county or any staff or anything on those lines, just reach out and we'll set up a virtual demo, and I'll share my screen just like I'm doing now. Also, I'm going to have a little brief part about the integration with WinGAP, where we're going to answer some questions about what that means and whatnot. Some of the people that have asked for a recording are not WinGAP. They're either Tyler. I believe a lot of the larger counties in Georgia have chosen to go outside of WinGAP. They've gone with Tyler and what used to be Manatron, and so like we'll discuss what the integration is with those camera systems. And then at any time, if you have a question, please put it into the chat, and hopefully Victoria, who is in our marketing department, who set up this call, thank you, Victoria, or Chester or somebody will alert me that there's a question, and then we'll just take it from there. And then in the end, I was going to talk about Taxscribe Go. All right, so let's do this. All right, now let's go into, all right, just a little bit about, Reason Consulting. We started in 2022, and we're now in 16 states with our different products. I'm going to be talking more and more about Taxscribe, so I'm not going to go about the product on the left, but we do a whole bunch of stuff on that we call Audit Aware. To allow to canvas for businesses in this really cool way. We have a homestead exemption product, which is the interface is absolutely amazing. We have a case manager tool to allow you to track any kind of investigation. We have CABS, which is a business assessment tool, which is super popular and really inexpensive. So if you're a small jurisdiction, we have products that help you out on the business side for all different kinds of things on that side. So if you ever have any questions on Audit Aware or any products like CABS or whatnot, we have a lot of customers in Georgia on those Audit Aware type products, and I'd gladly, of course, do a demo for that as well. All right, let me go on. All right, so when I talk about Taxscribe, I'm going to be talking about two different interfaces. So it's a data management platform. So when you take paper and you make it paperless, you need a data management platform to manage it. And the government side, which is everyone here on the call, you're going to have a totally different interface and view and workflow than the filer. But the filer needs a lot of attention from their workflow because they're the ones that have to be delighted with the interface to use it. And you'll often hear me say things like we looked at a lot of the things that were built into the popular product into its TurboTax, where they had a lot of the features and functionality around error proofing and whatnot, because the filer is expecting that level of sophistication and ease of use. And so it has a lot on that side. But what I'm going to do is do a brief demo of two different interfaces to manage it. And so I just want to make sure that we're totally in alignment here. There'll be a government interface that you will see, but there's a business interface as well. And so let's go down. So now the government interface has very similar like wants and needs to the business interface, but they're looking for two different types of ease of use and interface. So from the government side, what you guys are looking for is, hey, I want less mail. I want to be able to manage all the paper. I also want to be able to manage it over a number of different years. So not just this tax filing season, but I want to be able to look back at last year's or whatever the years that you've been using it. I also want to be able to communicate in two different ways with the filer. The one way will be when they file, they get notified that they did file, but also if there's an issue, like they forgot something or whatever, you can initiate a communication to them saying, hey, can you refile with, you forgot this portion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You also have on the government interface, you have bulk assign things as the filers come in with listings, you can take them and assign them to different people in bulk and whatnot. But also, like, one of the bigger things is because we're integrated with WinGAP, it gets rid of now typing this information from these forms into WinGAP, which is a huge savings of time and whatnot. Now, for the business side, for the filer's view, it's also going to manage their filing. It's also going to be, they're going to be communicated in two ways, because when they file, they want to be notified that it was submitted. They also want it to know when it's being reviewed and when it's been finished, so that they're not calling you. They want an intuitive interface. They don't want, they want to be able to, when they get there, they can clearly figure out all the different things, that it kind of walks them through finishing it, very much like the TurboTax experience. And if there's an error, it turns red, or it alerts them in some way that says, hey, you need to do this first before you go on. Also, there's, like I said, different levels of error proofing and that kind of thing, so that they can't submit it too soon, et cetera, et cetera. And also the data being preloaded. So because we're integrated with WinGAP, we'll be able to upload the businesses ahead of time, so that they'll be able to grab their business, and they'll see the filing, and then you'll see that there's a data management part. Okay, and then the other part, which if you're on the phone and you are a WinGAP customer, WinGAP does not have an e-file module that you can get onto. But if you've looked at if you're not WinGAP and you happen to be one of the larger cameras that are on Tyler and whatnot that want a recording of this, imagine that every time that I do go against anybody else's online offering of any kind, this has more features and functionality than anybody else's that we've run into. All right, so let me do a quick demo just so we can get online here with what we're doing. And I'm going to first start with the filers side. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm sure Chester's sending me a note saying, you said you'd be short and keep it condensed, but I'm trying, Chester. All right, so here's their interface from the filer's point of view. So you can clearly see that if they had an aircraft, they could click here, they could see it, or a marine, or if they've started a business personal property tax form, which I've done to expedite the whole thing. You can see that this one's in progress, that I've started it, and then when I can resume it if I want to. If I have a pre-port form, it is here. And if I want to look at prior year submissions, I can hit the prior years, because this is a data management form for me as well. So I can look at what I might have done in the prior years, or anything that I might have archived. In this case, let's just go real quick here. The business personal property form, I can resume it. If I wanted to start from scratch, I just hit the blue button here, start new form. And because we're integrated with WinGAP, you can see that the businesses that are in the system will be pre-populated here, and I can just find the business that I'm trying to do. So if I'm trying to find my donut shop and I'm the Donut Palace, I can just start to view the form from there. Or if I was, let me see if there's a candy shop. Oh, no candy. Let's coffee. It's usually a coffee of some sort, right? If I'm a coffee business, I can find my business and start the form right there, and the data will be pre-populated. All right, and what I mean by pre-populated is when I click on the form, but I'm not this business, the data will be from the previous submissions will be already loaded there, so the addresses and things like that, I don't have to type that in, which is a huge convenience for them. But let's go back to just this one. I'm going to resume this one. So this is the one I've been filling out on Andy's Donuts, the company I made up, and then I'm here on Main Street. And if I go into the general information for the next one, you can see we put in a bunch of different ways to for error proofing. So if it's a required field and I don't fill it out, it will turn red, which is really convenient. There's another error proofing. I can't put in, for like a zip code needs a number, I can't type in a letter. Also, we put in time saving things. So if the physical address and the mailing address are the same, you can hit a button and it'll pre-populate or it'll populate the information. And you can see there's other things already required. Also, at any time, I can view it as a PDF if I get lost, and I can just click this little PDF button, and it generates a PDF from the point of where I am on the actual filing. So here I am. I filled out Andy's Donuts on Main Street, anywhere, but I haven't gotten to the rest of it, and you can see it's not filled out. But at any time, I can do that, and so at the end of this, when I am done, if I want a paper copy for my records, I can always generate a PDF and whatnot. All right, so then your entire form for this one's the PDP 50P is all represented here. Here's a summary on the left, and then here's all the details on the right. And if I had a business there before Andy's Donuts, in this case, would have it all pre-populated. If I had any of these things with inventory and whatnot, would all be here. And if I said yes, the form changes to add all the different things that would be required for all of this. And it's a delightful experience for the filer with all the different ways to file it. But I'm gonna go really fast. If you want a full-on demo, we'll do this later. I'm now gonna switch to the government interface. So let's switch to the government interface here. And so on the government side, these forms are getting sent in, and we want you to be able to find them as fast as possible. So so up here, what we've done is imagine you're getting hundreds and hundreds of business listings coming in. So what we've done up here on the right is an easy way to find any of those. So if I can search up here and find any of the hundreds of forms by typing either a name. So if I typed in bar, for instance, anything with bar in it would pop up, or anything what it has. If I typed in the name, the search, the account number, or the address, and I can find it. I can also do it by what the status is of the submission. So I just want the things that have been approved. I can do that, and those only the ones that have been approved will pop up, or who they've been assigned to. So I can pick someone that of someone who's working on something, and then this is what Jennifer is working on. Or I can do the different tax years. I'm in 2024. But if I were to do 2023, I can find 2023 or 2025. These are the different, then what form I want to be looking at. I can choose that. I can see what's been exported back to WinGAP. I can also do bulk actions where, like I said, you can assign different forms to different people to work on, especially if another instance of this is if you had someone who leaves the assessor's office and you want to then take their workload and assign to somebody else. Those are all different things that you can do with the assigning. And of course, then you can communicate. So if I go into a form, for instance, here's the form. You can communicate to the person here through that, and you can also do it as a PDF and view everything as a PDF as well. We get a lot of counties will say, this is great that it's electronic, but at the end, I kind of want to have a paper copy. Well, you get the best of both worlds. It comes in electronic. You don't have to type it into WinGAP. You can approve it. You can do all these different, you can return it and communicate, and also have it as a PDF at the end that you can print and have a paper copy. Okay, that was a lot that I know I covered, and there's a lot of whistles and bells. And like I said, I want to try to do it in 5, I'm sure it was about 8 minutes, but that was a taste of what it was. So now let's go to the questions section of this and see if anyone has any questions. So let me pause here. Does anyone have any questions so far? Anyone? Anyone in the chat with any questions? Okay. All right, so let me ask a question or two just to start to get the dialogue going, I'm going to ask one of Adam about integration first. How about that? Because
Sounds great.
We're just going to move into integration. Okay, so Adam, these are going to be softballs, hopefully. So what is integrated now with WinGAP, and what will be integrated with WinGAP next?
Great question, Andy. So currently we have the PT50P integrated, and what we mean by integration is that we'll receive a file from WinGAP through their secured file transfer. At any point in the tax season, we can load or reload that file in to make sure the data is accurate, and then the taxpayer's information will pre-populate. The taxpayer then goes and makes their adjustments and submits it. When that gets approved, currently we run this batch job on Fridays, but we're still working out if we want to run it daily or whatnot. That will then get created as a new payload to send to WinGAP and uploaded to their secure FTP at the completion of the process. So we receive data from WinGAP, ingest it into our system for pre-population, let the taxpayer edit it, send that to Gov to be approved. Once approved, we then upload it back to WinGAP.
Okay, so what's on the roadmap for, I mean, because like at some point, like you're on like constantly integrating, right?
Yes, yeah, you did ask a two-part question. I'm sorry. You said they were softball, so I only answered the first half. The second half of your question, what's on our roadmap next? So we did this integration with the PT50P for this year to make sure everything worked. We'll have the AM and FP, I might have that backwards, Freeport, completed by the end of this year, and so all 4 forms will be integrated with WinGAP at the end of this year.
All right, awesome. All right, so here's another one. So how often would the forms be exported then back to WinGAP during tax season, or when would that happen?
Since this is our first year, we've just scheduled it on Fridays, but because we wanted to make sure we could inspect the process, we found a bug, for instance, where not all the forms that needed to be exported were getting selected to be exported, and we fixed that bug, making sure that 100% of the data was getting sent over. And I expect by next year it'll run probably as a nightly basis, but we could potentially make it run even sooner than that. But I would plan on having it be nightly starting next year.
Okay, so then let me see here. All right. So when I was showing a demo, I created a new business, Andy's Donuts, and that one wasn't in WinGAP. What happens when it gets done? Like how's that one? Like I can see how if it was a business that was in there before and I had to create one new, how did that get synced up somehow? They're going to know when that gets done?
I haven't tested that process directly with WinGAP, so perhaps Jennifer or Jay can speak more, but our standard process is you assign an account number to that record inside of Taxscribe Gov, and then its details can be sent to WinGAP, although depending on the provider, they prefer to not have first year forms sync. They prefer to be manually entered. So I'll let Jennifer say exactly how it works for WinGAP. We can handle either scenario.
We do that. We go ahead and assign an account number, and then we keep the account number in Taxscribe, and it will sync once you do that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to break this up, and I'm going to ask. I created a poll question. And I know you're like, really, a poll question? Yeah, I was going to break this up and ask a poll question. So I just put it out there. So the question is, what's your biggest barrier to going electronic? And the options are cost, adverse to change, don't know how, or other. Hopefully you guys can see the poll question. Now, I've been trying to make these, I've been doing webinars and I'm trying to make them more, friendly and interactive. So please, answer it if you have a question, have an answer. That'd be nice. All right, so we already got cost. Okay, it's a big driver. That makes sense. All right, I'm gonna come back to the poll answers. Hopefully other people fill that out. And then I'm gonna go back to questions. And I'm gonna say, let's, Jennifer, you're on. Let's ask you a question or two. Let's see.
Okay.
So, Jennifer, do you know how many forms came in electronically? This is your second year. First off, this is your second year on Taxscribe.
Yes.
Right? And do you know how many forms were filled out electronically?
This year we had about 750. We still have some people filing because we leave ours open till June 1st because you can file for Freeport up to June 1st. So we chose to leave everything open till June 1st.
Okay. All right. And then that's actually 750 is pretty cool. Which of, if I remember, it was like 635 were the PDP 50P. And
there was a lot of business that filed. We had less boat people file. With the new exemption, the $20,000 exemption, we've had a lot of people call and say, well, there's no sense in me doing that. I ain't got to pay a bill. So that's affected a lot of the filing too. So
okay.
Hopefully next year, we're going to put an insert in there that says you still need to file the return. So that kind of snuck up on us this year before or after.
Okay. So on the when you mail out the paper form and the reminder to fill it out, and that there is an electronic version, and an electronic ability, an online ability, if you will, you're going to put something in there saying, even if you're below a number. Okay. And then here's a question that you didn't think I'd ask, which is, if it's Freeport, why is it PF in the thing? Why wouldn't it be FP? Why would you do that?
I didn't name it that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that was all right.
That's a state thing.
Okay. All right. So then I think we might have answered this one, but I had a question like at any time, anyone can interrupt me with a question that they might put into the chat. So there's a little chat button, so anyone can just.
Yeah, I have one, Andy.
Go ahead,
while you were demoing the government side and the taxpayer side, you all probably noticed at the top right and top left of each environment that there's a PDF button. So just in case you're wondering, even though this is all online, how does the taxpayer receive or download a hard copy of their PDF? Well, that's available on their end in their portal and on the government side. So both sides can have a hard copy of the PDF for records.
And I will say this year, one of our largest filers used the online filing. Well, actually two, honestly. Large carpet manufacturers used the online filing and they really liked it. They like being able to dump all their documents on there, all their support and everything. There was a couple of times that we've had people call in and say, oh my gosh, I forgot to add something. So we can return their form to them and they can attach the documents that they need to attach and then resubmit it. So it's, they like using it because the $20 postage that they would have had used, they don't have to use. A lot of people are liking it because of the savings for postage.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they really don't want to come see us either. So
that's all right. Perfect. Thank you for that, Jennifer. All right, so listen, I'm gonna switch to Jay. I have a question for Jay from Barrow County. Jay, this was Barrow's first year on Taxscribe, did any issues come up during the year? And you may be on mute, Jay. Jay is on mute. All right. Well, I'll come back to Jay. Let me see here. All right, Chester, I'm going to switch to you until I can get Jay off of mute.
Sure.
All right. So remember, Chester is customer experience, and so that means
Chester is your best friend.
that means you have a phone a friend for any issue that comes up, and it's Chester. And there's a team behind Chester, but he's like the tip of the spear for that. And so he's going to do training, which is all part of the package, and is also going to make sure that not only training, but questions get answered, and hold your hand through the whole process. And then when there are issues that may pop up during the year, he's not only the government's phone a friend, but also the filer's phone a friend. So filers will also reach out in the help section and whatnot and say, oh, hey, I need some assistance. And Chester is on that part as well. So Jennifer, you may not even be aware, but there were filers that will say, oh, I forgot my password or that kind of thing. And Chester and his team are making sure all those get answered and so they can submit. So let me start with some questions for Chester. Yeah, so what happens if a taxpayer can't remember their password? So what's the process on that? Chester, if you can walk us through that.
Sure thing. So on the login screen, every taxpayer has a reset button. So self-service. So they enter their email address that they register with, and then they click on reset password. It'll send an email to their registered email. They'll be able to log in to create a new password and then begin submitting. Now, what we have run into, depending on the environment, like if it's a big CPA firm or it really happened after the pandemic, where a lot of IT departments locked down their Exchange. Exchange is like the email system that they may use, is through Microsoft. So what happens is, as a taxpayer, when you reset your password, depending on your IT policies, it might block that email. As you all know, for your bank accounts, any of your personal accounts, when you reset the password, it sends you an email to verify, and then you reset it. That email sometimes is blocked, but thankfully Adam and his team develop a way for us to, on the back end, create a manual link and then send it to the taxpayer. So to answer your question, taxpayers can all reset their passwords without any contact with the county or us, but in case that they have issues with their IT department, we can still help them get into the application.
Awesome. Are there user guides for the taxpayer, for the county? Or there like ways that they can learn about how to use it if they do have a question without reaching out? Because I know I typically don't like to talk to somebody. I'd like to try to figure it out myself.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Actually, we cover two end users like yourself. So you have some end users who prefer to just read, have like an actual guide. So we have user guides for taxpayers and for the county. These are all public facing documents. It's all online, and it's actually linked in the application. So as a taxpayer, when you log in at the bottom, there will be a link to the knowledge base, and there you'll be able to look at the user guide. But then you also have some end users like myself who do not want to read. I mean, our user guide is maybe 10, 15 pages. And if you think about a website, how long that might be, but it's that long because we have detailed instructions. But what if you just have less than a minute and you just want to, how do I do this task? So for end users like myself who prefer an actual video, we also have how-to videos that are, the longest one is 45 seconds. So quick, it's a demo of the app or a picture or a video of the app. And here's how you submit your form. Here's how you reset your password. So we cover both bases, Andy. We have a really detailed user guide that's text-based with images, but then we also have how-to videos.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let me see. Can I get Jay? Are you able to get off of mute? Let me see. Jay, can you hear me?
Mine I had to do at the bottom of the screen in the middle. Took me a minute to find it, but it wasn't in my picture. It was at the very bottom of it.
Awesome.
Can you
I
hear me
think
now,
Jay,
Andy?
there you go, Jay. Awesome. Okay, I have a question for you, Jay. So, this is Barrow's first year on Taxscribe. Did any issues come up, and what might have happened?
Well, nothing major. There's just a couple of things, just getting our feet wet. But we have some questions, and Chester's worked great with all of this to help us out. But as far as getting the exports over to WinGAP, I've had a couple of questions about sending the returns back to the taxpayer and them returning them back to us. But no major issues, just little small things, trying to get our feet wet, up and rolling. And Chester's helped us out with everything.
Okay, so that's awesome. I appreciate that, and I guess Chester owes you money. But you had told me a story, I don't know how long ago, and so it was kind of a softball. But I was getting at was somebody in your county had like 15 planes or some crazy number of aircraft.
Yes. Yeah, one of our plane owners, they had 15 planes. In Taxscribe, you can only list up to 5 planes. So they were wanting to know, how are we going to, get all of our information to you guys if it caps it at 5. So I forwarded it on to Chester. I'm not sure who he forwarded it to, but they ended up what they had to do. And the problem was solved pretty quickly. They just had to send us a spreadsheet of all 15 planes. I could get the information into WinGAP, but next year, everything is going to be updated to where I'm not sure if it's an unlimited number, but a larger number of planes will be able to be listed.
Thanks for that. So essentially, the reason why I wanted to put that out there was, we're in multiple states, and we've been doing this for a number of years, and that was the first time that someone had 15 planes.
It's unusual.
It is unusual, but I really kind of wanted to put a spotlight on it because there will be things will come up that are never been seen before. And there's a process of like, okay, hey, this has never been seen before. And you're like, all right, well then it's how would reason respond to a problem and try to resolve it. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Let me see. All right. I'm at the point where like I'm doing all the talking and asking the questions. Are there? So Jennifer or Jay,
You're so good at it, Andy.
is there anything that like I should have asked where you're like, oh, you should have asked this question, something along those lines?
So I will throw something out there. The two-way communication, where you can communicate with a taxpayer for something else that you need that they didn't provide, or something was wrong with the return that they need to fix. That really works. We've had a great response with that this year. A lot of people are responding to the chats that we send, the emails. So, and it tracks the conversation, so you don't forget, what did I send them? And the little bubble lights up when you get a message.
Yeah. I
That's
didn't go
always a
through.
plus.
I didn't do that in the demo. But yeah, there you get a little. Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, that does work great. The messaging does work great. Pardon me, excuse me. The messaging works great. Sending it back to get the additional information. For the most part, people do respond quickly and well to that. Because there's always some that don't, but that's just, part of the process. But it is a great tool that we can use with Taxscribe to do that.
Yeah. So, and I didn't show it in the demo because I was actually trying to not show like the hours worth of features and functionality. And you guys see it from the government side, but what the filer sees is actually in the interface, they will get a little message thing that they've gotten a message, but they will also be sent an email. as well. So if they're not in, if they haven't gone into Taxscribe Biz, they will still see it as an email pop up that they should go back to Biz and communicate. All right. Anything else? Because if not, I'm going to move on because
Andy, I'm gonna jump in on that one.
Oh, okay.
And this is for Jennifer and Jay, and then whoever potentially, hopefully, joins us for Taxscribe for next year. But I know Jay and Jennifer has asked for this, and so have all the counties. As Andy stated, on the taxpayer side, when a message is received from the government or from the county or the jurisdiction, the taxpayer not only has the little bubble that Jennifer was talking about, but they also receive an email that they received a message from the county. One of the requested features on the county side, which we plan to deploy for next year, Jamie would be heading this up. Jamie is the SVP for Taxscribe. He'll be working with development for a notification on the county side, because I know on the county you want to have like a notification center or email or some way to, on your side also, in addition to the bubble, to see all your messages that were received. So just for Jay and Jennifer, we'll be testing that with you before we go live, but that is something that we plan to deploy for next year.
Yay.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch over and talk about a product that we're launching called Taxscribe Go. So we have pricing for what we call micro county, and then a small county, and then a large county pricing, because we have all of our products. We try to scale it up so that even smaller jurisdictions can take part. But what I did not go through is that on the filer side, what we found through talking to the filers, and this came from, and I've already had conversations with Jennifer and Jay, is at the end of the year, I'm like, hey, tell me your big egregious paper filers so that we can reach out to them and say, hey, there's an online, because we're trying to drive adoption, because we want more people using Taxscribe, because then you get less mail and you're doing less typing into WinGAP, for instance, right? So the more filers we get, the more who have adopted the solution, the better it is for the government side. And so from talking to accounting firms and large national brands and multi-jurisdictional, entities, we found that our interface, needed to, be on steroids, if you will. We needed to have something for them so that we could attract them to the system. And so what we did is we invented an interface that we call Taxscribe Pro for the professional user. So if I share my screen real quickly, this is the professional users interface, and you can see that they can file in multiple states, because these, let's say a large national accounting firm will have businesses that they need to file the same kinds of forms, but they're called something totally different in each state all over, and be able to manage it. And so we have this, it has a lot of features and functionality for them to allow them to manage the forms. And you can see all the states that we have, because we're doing all 37 states plus DC, so that when they log in, they can file everywhere. And so even though the form isn't called PDP 50, and PAM and PF in their state, it's it's something different, and they might have an extension and whatnot, that they can come in and they can have the data pre-populated, and they can file, and they have a way of managing all the forms. And we're talking to a lot of different accounting firms about this. As a matter of fact, we've already, even though we're not done, because this is something that we're trying to do for this year coming up, we've already started to have accounting firms and businesses sign up on the professional side. And we already got the number 86 accounting firm in the country signed up and submitting through this. And we're having discussions every week with others. And so I don't want to say who because this is a recording, but we have some major accounting firms because there's no solution like this in the market. And so what we're able to offer is something that we're calling Taxscribe Go. There's no frills. It's very inexpensive. And those accounting firms using Pro, what we can do is we can have it so that you can go to this landing page and grab an electronic version of those. It's essentially a PDF of those, and you would have them electronically for almost no money. We have to figure out what the price is, and I don't want to say it on a recording, but imagine that it's a no frills. It doesn't have all the Taxscribe interfaces and the management things, but at least it would be electronic, because there are a lot of very, very small jurisdictions out there that would like some form of an electronic, and they may not be able to afford even the micro pricing. Anyway, that's that. Are there any other questions before we end the call? Jennifer, please.
I do have a question. So let's say you have this Taxscribe Go.
Mhm.
If on the integration part, when you integrate sync, will it sync the PDF into the WinGAP account?
Well, you won't have to worry about that because
No.
theirs will be synced because you're a Taxscribe customer. But if you, so first off, you don't have to worry about it because you're a Taxscribe customer. But for them, it won't be synced. It is just an electronic version so that you don't have to open the mail and you have something, and now you can copy and paste it, if you will, into WinGAP yourself, but you will be at least able to read the form because now you're not having paper sent to you with someone's chicken scratch, and you'll have an electronic version. It is a no frills, and it's only the people using Pro. So like I said, there is nothing in the market for these large accounting firms to do, because imagine from their point of view, they have to file all over the country, and in 37 states plus DC, that's a lot of different counties, cities, townships that will have a different form to fill out, and so they have an issue there, and they have to then find out what the form is and try to fill it out and get it to them. And like I said, there are some CAMA providers like Tyler and whatnot that have an e-file module. And so if you're a large accounting firm and you have to fill out thousands and thousands and thousands of these forms all over, their problem is they don't want to learn 30 different passwords to 30 different online software programs.
Mhm.
And they don't want to have to even bother with that, because their problems aren't that the assessors have to open mail and type it into the CAMA. That's not their problem. And so they don't care. They will send you paper. And as you know, there are big accounting firms sending you paper. And we want to get them to use an online presence. And they're looking for it. So imagine it's like if TurboTax was built for the IRS rather than for the filer. And so what we've done with Pro is build this interface for the filer, and we're getting a lot of attention because there's nothing like that for them, and they're really excited about it. So anyway, all right, listen, we've reached time. I really appreciate everyone who attended.
And Andy, real quick, and Jennifer, what would be applicable to you, and your question is, that is something that applicable to you and Jay, I should say, that is something that Jamie, Adam, and I will be working on for the WinGAP export. is because we know that the PT50P does export. And then as Adam stated, the plan is to add the additional forms. The plan also is to make sure your PDFs go over there too. But once we, Jamie and Adam meet to go over the 2026 plan for WinGAP and exporting, we'll be in touch with you and Jay, because we know that that's a priority for you all as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Good.
All right, listen, I want to thank everybody who joined for their time out of their busy day. I really appreciate it. I especially want to thank Jennifer and Jay as customers coming on and doing this is unscripted. Anyone could ask any questions. I really appreciate it. And so awesome. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, y'all.